In my last video, I spoke about the rising trend of Underconsumption Core and its similarities with the make, do and mend period of the 1940s, and I promise you that in the next video, I'd show you how to embrace this sustainable lifestyle with a 1940s twist. Well, I'm going to do just that, and the very first thing that I'd say to you is that any transformative change starts at home, and so today, that means decluttering and repurposing. I live in a small period home, which, by the way, is not a necessity, nor is dressing in vintage clothing, which you know I love to do. No, today is more about adopting this mindset to suit any modern day circumstances. Anyway, as I said, I live in a small period home, and as I've been researching the nuances of this lifestyle, I did start to worry that my home doesn't exactly look like I embrace this minimalist movement. I have a lot of antique and secondhand items that I love decorating my home in. Almost everything, in fact, has some age to it. But I do try very hard to keep it to a healthy balance. I mean, I have to. My house is rather small and I have no garage or shed. But in all seriousness, I do not feel that this lifestyle means that you have to live in a sparsely decorated home with zero personality. That just wouldn't work for me. And so when I feel that my house is starting to border into clutter core, blimey, how many cores do we need? I know that it's time for an intentional sort out.
We've got to try and be strong now.
So, carefully and thoughtfully sort through and organise your belongings, or find creative ways to reuse or repurpose items instead of discarding them.
Oh no!
And go easy on yourself. If you're somewhat of a sentimental hoarder like we are, then you might find this a little bit challenging. Now, if you're part of my gold or silver membership, then you might have already seen my video on how to declutter your life as a vintage thrift lover, which hopefully breaks it all down further whilst giving you ways to make the tasks a bit more fun. Once sorted, you can discard, donate or repurpose your items and breathe a sigh of relief at the mental and physical space that you have now created. But again, go easy on yourself. Ask yourself, if this item got lost or broken, would that make me sad? Or would I buy it back again if I saw it on the shelves? But of course, there are some things in this life that money simply cannot buy, like this amazing Captain Carter shield, handmade by a dear friend of mine.
You are the best butler ever. Can I open it now?
Yeah, absolutely, go ahead. Oh good, you haven't did that side first, because there's an inscription inside somewhere.
You did not.
It's your own Captain Carter shield.
Oh my god, this is the best thing. Are you kidding me?
It goes well, so well with your outfit. With the red, the white, the blue.
I dressed for this.
You did.
What is that? That's the best thing ever.
Yep, some things are truly priceless. In the 40s, people would often donate clothes to neighbours or repair them, and other items would only be discarded if they had absolutely no use for them anymore. That's the thing with the anxiety of scarcity. It makes you value what you already have in case you don't come across it again. Just be careful not to buy those same items back during your next charity shop trip. Oh, and disclaimer, taking this task on will most certainly churn up feelings of that dreaded nostalgia.
What? We've got it. Who even bought it? Oh. Nan.
But I would say that opting for second-hand goods does help keep items in circulation for longer. It reduces waste and supports sustainable practices. It's pretty kind to your budget too, plus your money is going to a charity, which is kind to your heart. And it really does go to the charity, by the way. Believe me, I've done my field research.
But they do the charity shop circuit,
Yeah.
which I hadn't heard about until I kind of joined Rainbows, and it's...
What? Everybody does that.
Yeah, like, you spend a day and you go to an area and you go to every charity shop.
Absolutely. It's like a pub crawl.
Yeah.
But it's a charity shop crawl.
It's great, yeah.
It's how I've spent pretty much every Saturday since I was born. Oh, and we all know that during this task, there's always the risk of becoming a tad distracted. And it isn't just clothing or accessories that you can find at charity shops. They sell appliances and furniture too. Both our sofas are secondhand, and we also often frequent eBay, which is how we found our cooker and my cast iron bed from 1890. My Smeg fridge was also a second-hand hand-me-down from my nan, and by doing this, it keeps me out of that dreaded upgrade loop. That's the main reason that I'd also encourage you to buy older items, as these are truly built to last. No need for upgrades with good quality mahogany or a sturdy tin opener that's been around since the 1950s. Also, side note, and a genuine question, why does my older stovetop kettle seemingly never get limescale? Or at least hardly as much limescale as what I see in modern kettles? Anybody know? Please comment below. This philosophy of quality over quantity transcends over every aspect of the Underconsumption Core lifestyle, including our beauty products and wardrobe. For beauty products, pick some staples that have multiple functions. Pond's Cold Cream, for example, acts as a makeup remover, cleanser, night cream, and moisturiser. Vaseline has multiple functions. You can get an eyeshadow palette for almost every occasion, and a good red lipstick is your new best friend. Mine happens to be Besame. Honestly, this lipstick has lasted me for literally years, which I know some people may think is a bit gross, but it stands the test of time and I'm not going to part with it anytime soon. Not today. And these practices are all inspired by the resourcefulness of the 1940s during a period of rationing, and yet no one is debating how glamorous they still looked. And it's the same with clothes. In the 40s, they embraced the art of a capsule wardrobe, a thoughtfully selected number of items that were interchangeable and would last multiple seasons. And that's all you really need. Work shoes, day shoes, going out shoes, a few go-to cardigans, and I find that you can dress a good pair of dungarees in about 1,000 different ways. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration, but a few. Another quite lovely way that you can embrace this lifestyle is by allowing your creativity to take the wheel. And don't worry, I'm not talking about using sausage meat for a mock Sunday roast like during the war. But Underconsumption Core does challenge your creativity in how you repurpose or refurbish items to have a new lease of life. This is a bit of a niche one, but for example, we found this quirky cuckoo clock in a charity shop, and we had both said, my mum and I, that we weren't allowed to buy anything new for the house, but once we cleared out our outhouse as a treat for all of our hard work, we could buy one new item for in there. Well, when I spotted this little oddity, I knew it was the one, but it was in pretty bad shape. It had no clock hands, it was filthy, and the pendulum was missing. So my mum and I fixed it. We added new clock hands, cleaned it up, and fashioned a new pendulum out of something we already had. And we like to do stuff like this pretty often with things we already own or even as gifts for people. Anyway, imagine our joy when we got it working again and the cuckoo wasn't in fact a cuckoo, but was a cow. A cow that moos. Kitsch and adorable. The next thing is something that my mum and I need no schooling in, and that's mindful purchasing. Now, in my time, I have been called tight, which is basically insinuating that I'm reluctant to part with my money. And it's true! The only thing I'd happily spend on is others. But when it comes to spending on myself, I take a lot of swaying to commit to a purchase. But I think that's a good thing. So before acquiring new items or new anything, just take a moment to assess their necessity and potential longevity in your life. And I happen to believe that Underconsumption Core and the slow life kind of go hand in hand. By learning to underconsume, or at least consume less, you're reducing that pressure on yourself and broadening your skill set, which in turn helps you live a more mindful life. Look at her, just a girl and her pigeons. And speaking of broadening your horizons and repurposing, I use this old Hetty Hoover blocked up with tape to act as my pigeon's bath. Not only does it look kind of adorable, but it actually stays watertight, and my pigeons absolutely love it. And I think that we could count this one as Underconsumption Core, as it does mean that I'm not buying quite as much from supermarkets, but I also have my own little victory garden in these adorable handmade garden beds, which is another point of inspiration that I drew from the 1940s, watered by a genuine 1940s watering can. Found on eBay. What I like about this lifestyle is that it somewhat diminishes the constant decision fatigue. Simply by having less, there's less to choose from. And I really, really like that. That is what my brain needs. I mean, Underconsumption Core isn't perfect, but then again, no social media trend is. But it does represent a cultural shift towards valuing sustainability, financial prudence, and authenticity over the pursuit of constant novelty. If there's any trend I would say is worth giving a try, it's this one, because by embracing this lifestyle, you can shape a more mindful and potentially sustainable future.